You know, we always hear about these like crazy crypto gains, right? But today, we're going to kind of flip that script a little bit. We're going to look at the other side of that coin, the very real risk of losing, sometimes big. And this is especially true on those peer-to-peer platforms, you know, those P2P platforms.
Yeah.
So just to set the stage, we actually have a story to kick things off. So there was this trader on Binance P2P, and this is wild. They lost $10,000 in USDT. Like, poof, gone because of a fake payment receipt. I mean, just imagine that.
Wow.
And for those of you maybe not super familiar with P2P, it's basically like cutting out the middleman. Buyers and sellers of crypto connecting directly, trading without a central exchange, kind of calling the shots.
Right.
But even though they cut out the middleman, platforms like Binance still often step in with things like escrow services to try and add some security.
Yeah, and it makes you think what's really crazy about this whole thing, right? It wasn't like some newbie who got tricked. This was a trader, someone who had experience, knew the ins and outs of these platforms, and still they fell for it.
It's a good reminder that even with all the safeguards and fancy tech, it's still people making decisions. And people, well, we can be a little too trusting sometimes.
Absolutely.
So what we're going to do today is like really get into the nitty-gritty of how these scams actually work. We want to give you, our listeners, the tools to spot these things a mile away. And believe me, it's way more common than you might think. We dug into the research, and this stuff's happening all over the globe on these P2P platforms. It's a serious problem.
It really makes you think about trust, right? Like these incidents happen and it just chips away at the whole foundation of how decentralized finance is supposed to work. It makes people question the whole system.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's break this down, kind of paint a picture of what went wrong. We have this trader. His name is Reza. He's been on Binance P2P for a while, a few months at least, and he's done over 100 trades, no problem. He's got a decent rep. People seem to trust him. He's based in Dubai, and he's mainly selling USDT for their local currency, AED. And, you know, Reza felt pretty good about the whole thing. Binance has that escrow system, right? It holds the crypto hostage basically until both sides say, yep, we're good, everything's kosher. So he felt like he had some protection.
Yeah, the escrow system is definitely a big plus. It's like having a referee, that neutral third party that keeps things honest. But, as we're going to see, even with that, people can still find ways to game the system.
Yeah.
And they target, like you said, the human element.
Right. You can't code away human error, right?
Absolutely.
So Reza lists 10,000 USDT for sale. Like, boom, almost instantly a trade request pops up. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't some random shady account. This buyer, they were verified, had a crazy 98% completion rate, had done like over 1,000 trades, and had all these positive reviews. Like on paper, they looked squeaky clean, as good as it gets, right?
Yeah. And think about it. Those are the things we're always told to look for, right?
Yeah.
You want someone verified with a solid track record. So it just goes to show how sneaky these scammers can be. They're playing the long game, building up this whole facade of legitimacy.
Yeah, it's like they're playing 4D chess or something.
Exactly.
So Reza and the buyer, they start chatting on Binance's little in-app messenger thing. Nothing out of the ordinary. The buyer says, okay, cool. I'm going to transfer the money, the AED, to your bank account in Dubai. Just let me know when it's there and then release the USDT. Like standard stuff, right?
Textbook P2P transaction, right? Agree on the terms, transfer the money, confirm it's there, then release the crypto. It's like a little dance.
Exactly. So not even 10 minutes go by. Reza gets a screenshot, looks like a bank transfer receipt. Now, if you just glance at it, you wouldn't think twice. The amount was there, 36,800 AED, right on the money. Reza's name is there as the beneficiary, clear as day. The date and time, it all lines up, super recent. There's a reference number. Even part of the sender's name is blacked out, like for privacy. I mean, it looked real.
And that's the thing, right? We are so used to trusting what we see, especially in the digital world. And scammers know that. They know how powerful visual proof can be. So they create these really convincing forgeries and little details like blurring out part of the name. That makes it seem even more legit, like a real bank would do.
It's crazy how much thought they put into this stuff.
It's all about psychology.
And of course, the buyer doesn't miss a beat. They send a quick message. Transfer's done. Just release the USDT. And then another one, this is where the manipulation starts. Oh, and hey, my bank's being weird. Sometimes the SMS notifications are delayed. Could you just check your account yourself? The money should be there. Like planting that seed of doubt.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's clever because they're offering an explanation, right? It's not their fault, it's the bank. So Reza's less likely to think anything's fishy. And that urgency, that need check now, that's all part of the plan.
It's like they're reading from the scammer's handbook.
Exactly.
And here's where Reza slips up. Big time. He sees that receipt, it looks good, the buyer seems chill, and he just clicks release, sends those 10,000 USDT straight to the buyer's wallet,
Oh.
all before actually checking his own bank account to see if the money's really there. And that one click was a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's the heart of the scam, right? Once that crypto's out of escrow, it's basically game over. The platform can't do much to help at that point. It's like handing over the keys to your car without even checking the buyer's ID.
So Reza, he's freaking out now, refreshing his banking app like a madman, but nothing, zero, zilch. The money's not there. He waits a while, tries to message the buyer again, radio silence, finally calls his bank, and they're like, nope, haven't seen any transfer like that. That's when it hits him. That receipt, it was all a fake. His $10,000, gone. Just vanished into thin air.
Ugh, I can't even imagine that feeling. To think you've got the money to release that much crypto and then bam, it was all a lie, like a punch to the gut.
Totally. And what's crazy is that, creating a fake receipt like that, it's not some super high-tech operation. The article we read, it said they're using online templates or even just Photoshop. Like, anyone can do it.
Right, that's the scary part. These tools are so easily accessible. So what looks legit could be completely fabricated. You can't just take things at face value anymore.
Definitely not. So Reza's story is a cautionary tale, right? But it's not unique. This is happening all the time. So let's kind of zoom out and see how these scams usually play out. What are the steps?
Okay, so step one, it's all about building trust,
Wow.
right? They might start by doing some small, legit trades, just to build up their rep, get some positive feedback on the platform. Some of them even use fake reviews or buy accounts just to make themselves look good.
That's messed up, so you can't even trust the ratings.
It's tough, right?
Mm.
The things we rely on to assess risk, they can be manipulated.
Mm.
It's like trying to judge a book by its cover when someone's gone and changed the cover art.
It's like, who can you trust?
Right. So once they've got that shiny reputation, then comes the pressure. They might say they need the crypto right away, like it's an emergency. Or like we saw with Reza, they start talking about technical issues, delays, anything to make the seller hurry up.
It's all part of the plan.
Exactly. And then, bam, out comes the fake documentation,
Mhm.
the forged receipts, the whole 9 yards. We read about a bunch of different methods. Some use online templates, super easy to customize. Others use image editing software, or they even create fake email confirmations that look just like the real deal.
And it's getting more and more sophisticated, right? These receipts, they have all the details you'd expect, the logos, the formatting. It's crazy.
Yeah, a quick glance isn't enough anymore. You really got to scrutinize everything.
And it all leads up to that one moment, the point of no return, where the seller clicks release and sends their crypto to the scammer, all based on a lie. And once that happens, it's almost impossible to get it back through the platform.
Right. And after they get the crypto, they vanish.
Right.
Poof. They use fake names, burner phones, disappear into the digital ether. You can't track them down.
It's like they planned the perfect heist.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the legal side of this, because that seems like a whole other mess. It's like the crypto world and the legal world, they're speaking different languages.
Totally. And the thing is, traditional banks, they're not going to reverse a transaction that never actually happened. From their perspective, the scammer never actually sent any money. And platforms like Binance, they usually need some serious proof before they'll reverse a transaction, like rock-solid evidence from the bank.
Which, like we said, is almost impossible to get in these situations.
Exactly.
So even if Reza went to the police, what are they going to do? The scammer probably used a fake ID. There's no real trail to follow. It's like they're operating in this legal gray zone where the rules don't quite apply.
It really highlights the challenges of regulating this whole decentralized, anonymous space. The laws haven't quite caught up to the technology.
It's like the Wild West out there.
Yeah, in a way.
So we talked about the fake receipts, but the research mentioned a bunch of other variations of this scam, right? Like different ways they try to pull the wool over your eyes.
Yeah, so one thing they do is use fake SMS notifications. They'll send you a text that looks like it's from your bank, confirming a transfer that never happened. And get this, some of them even have fake banking apps that show these really convincing demo transfers.
No way. So you could literally see a fake transfer happen right before your eyes.
Yeah, it's wild. They're getting really good at mimicking the real deal.
It's getting harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not.
Absolutely.
So what else do they do?
Another trick is they'll say, the payment's coming from someone else,
Yeah.
like a friend or family member. So the name on the receipt won't match their profile. And if you ask about it, they've got an excuse ready to go just to confuse you even more.
It's like they've thought of everything.
They really have. And then there's the good old-fashioned photoshopped bank screenshots, showing fake transfers. Again, if you're not paying close attention, it can be hard to tell it's a fake.
And what about those email confirmations? I bet those are pretty convincing too.
Totally. They create these emails that look exactly like they're from your bank with the logos, the formatting, the whole shebang.
But the end goal is always the same, right? To get you to hit that release button and send them your crypto before you realize you've been duped.
Exactly. They're playing on your trust, your desire to get the deal done quickly. It's all about exploiting those human weaknesses.
So it's easy to think, oh, I'm smarter than that. I'd never fall for it. But like we saw with Reza, even experienced traders can get caught. So why do you think that is? Why are even seasoned P2P users susceptible to these scams?
Well, for one, those platform ratings, they're not foolproof. Like we said, scammers can game the system, so you can't just blindly trust those shiny stars and positive reviews.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to always be skeptical, do your own due diligence.
Absolutely. And the forgeries themselves, they're getting really good. The level of
Yeah.
detail is insane. So it's easy to be fooled, especially if you're feeling rushed.
Yeah, that time pressure definitely plays a role. It's like you're trying to make a quick decision and you don't have time to really think things through.
Right, and it plays into our natural tendency to trust what we see. We're visual creatures, we believe our eyes, so when we see a convincing receipt, our brains kind of shut off, and we don't question it.
It's like our brains are wired to be tricked.
In a way, yeah. And then there's the fear of getting negative feedback or a dispute on the platform. Sellers might feel like they have to move quickly to avoid any problems, which can lead to hasty decisions.
It's like they're caught between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's cut to the chase. If there's one thing our listeners take away from this whole conversation, what's the golden rule to avoid getting scammed on P2P platforms? What's the one thing they should always remember?
The number one rule, and this is non-negotiable, is never, ever release your crypto based on a receipt or notification alone. No matter how legit it looks, you have to verify that the money is actually in your account before you do anything.
It seems so simple, but I guess in the heat of the moment, it's easy to forget the basics.
Happens to the best of us. That's why it's so important to have a system, a routine. Log into your bank account, check your transaction history, make sure the money's there, and your balance is updated. Only then, and I mean only then, should you even think about releasing the crypto.
So no screenshots, no SMS, no emails, nothing beats checking your account directly.
Absolutely. That's the only way to be sure.
So what does all this mean for our listeners as they navigate this increasingly digital world? What's the big picture takeaway?
I think Reza's story is a wake-up call. It shows us how important critical thinking is and how we all need to be a little more skeptical, especially online. We can't just trust everything we see anymore.
It's like we need to develop a whole new set of digital street smarts.
Exactly. And as we do more and more online, from banking to shopping to socializing, we need to be extra careful, always double-checking everything.
It really makes you think about trust in the digital age, doesn't it? Like, how do we know what's real anymore?
It's a huge question,
Yeah.
and one we all need to be thinking about, because at the end of the day, it's up to each of us to protect ourselves. So, for our listeners out there, what are you doing to make sure you're not the next Reza? What steps are you taking to verify information, to be sure you're not being tricked? It's something to think about, even after this deep dive is over.
Yeah, it's a conversation that needs to continue. So stay safe out there, everyone, and keep those critical thinking caps on.